Hi, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Rebecca. Last week I shared with you a video of non-perishable food items that you should keep stocked in your pantry at all times. And this week I want to share with you non-food items that you should always have on hand in case of an emergency or some unknown scenario that may arise, just so you're prepared and ready for you and your family. First thing I want to say is this is more of a one-size-fits-all list as compared to my list last week that had food items in it, because I know that not everybody has the same sort of food taste. Those were just staples that you could have on hand that mostly I think everybody would agree that it's good to have on hand, but maybe some things don't work for you. This list though, I feel like this works for everyone. Also, this is not a complete list of everything that you could ever possibly have to be prepared. This is just like bare minimum essentials, things that you should keep in your home, that you should have in hand. And by the way, I did not go to the store to buy any of the items for this video. These are all things that I have in my house right now that are available to us in case we need them. So the first thing I want to start with is paper products. So we all remember during the height of COVID when there was no toilet paper to be found. And in addition to that, paper towels were also slim. So I am always stocked with a big thing of paper towels. I also keep toilet paper. I am not hoarding toilet paper by any means, but I do have 4 bathrooms in my house. So I do keep toilet paper stocked in each of the bathrooms, which it's funny because you go out and you buy the toilet paper, and then once you've stocked it all in the bathrooms, you feel like you don't have any, just because like there's none in a big container that's left over. I'm not saying to hoard these things. I'm just saying these are good things to have on hand. Another good thing to have on hand is napkins. I know that some people don't use napkins. I know some people just say, well, if I have a paper towel, what do I need a napkin for? Sure, if that's how you do things, that's fine. I prefer to have both in my home. And then the next paper product that I feel everybody should have is tissues. So I always like to keep these stocked, and since we have 4 bathrooms, we have a lot of places that we need to stock tissues. So I always like to keep these products on hand no matter what, even if there's not an emergency, right? This is just a good backup to have, so if you don't go to grab toilet paper and heaven forbid there's none left. The next thing I want to talk about is flashlights. And with flashlights obviously comes batteries. So we have a variety of flashlights that we keep in our home. Some of them that are like crazy. I think it's this flashlight. It is insane the amount of light that it puts out. So this is always good to have on hand in case the power goes out. So we just moved here almost a year ago now, and actually a year tomorrow. It will be our 1-year anniversary in this house. So I'm not even joking when I tell you the power has gone out at least 7 times. I mean, it's crazy the amount of times our power has actually gone out. So we do keep things like flashlights on hand. It's also great to have candles on hand. So if you live in a home with a woman, you have candles in your home. It's almost guaranteed. So these are just a couple of candles that we have on hand. This is actually an outdoor candle that takes batteries. So if you're going to have something like this, you want to have batteries as well. And I have little candles, and you know, this obviously there's candles all over our home. So it's always great to have those on hand. And so with the flashlights comes batteries, right? So my husband is a very organized man. So he has these packs of batteries. So this is full of C and D batteries. And then he has AA, AAA, 9-volt, and CR2032 batteries in here. So these are waterproof. You know, if you're going to have batteries, I think it's a good idea to keep them all in one place, and keeping them in something like this is also a great idea so that they're not going to get damaged in any way. So be prepared in case the power goes out, like it seems to here all the time, and keep those things on hand and know where they are in case of an emergency. Another thing to have on hand is a lantern, which we don't have, but I think we're stocked with enough other lighting elements that it's okay that we don't have one, but that's also a great thing to have on hand. I'm not sure if everybody will have these on hand, but these are things that my husband has bought, and we actually have used them when the power has gone out. So these are like a battery inverter. So what you do is you take a battery and you put them on here, and then you can use these, like this one has charging ports on it, and it also has a light on it, which I'm not going to turn on because I just turned it on and couldn't figure out how to get it turned off, because it cycles through like, it's like bright, dim, blinking, and I couldn't figure out how to get it turned off, so I'm not going to turn it on. So this was from his drill set. This is a battery from his drill set, I believe. So we have used this in the past, and then this is one that he just got. So we had like a Ryobi lawnmower, like a push mower, and now that we've moved, we don't use the push mower anymore, but we do have these batteries that if you don't cycle through the batteries, they're eventually going to die. So he bought this Ryobi inverter, and you can power things with this. He actually brought this. He was helping my brother with something the other day, and I know they were working outside and it was 90 degrees, and he brought this, and he actually brought a fan. I don't know if they used it or not, but it's a really great idea if you need to have power without a power source. It also has a light, and it has an electric plug. I think he said it was 110 watt, and then it also has charging stations here as well. So this is another great thing to have on hand. If you do lose power, this is a way to get power when you are lacking it. So speaking of charging your phones, another thing we like to have on hand are these power charging blocks. So my husband and I each have these, and these are just little blocks that you can charge your phone with in case of an emergency. If you don't have an outlet that you can plug into, these are great for that. So I take mine with me and have it with me at all times, and then we keep one here at the house, but then if my husband's ever going anywhere where he thinks he may need it, he brings this with him as well. So these are great things to have on hand, because if you do lose power or there is an emergency, you want to be able to have your phone and make sure that it has a battery charge. The next items that are always great to have on hand are personal hygiene and cleaning items or products. So it's always great to have wipes on hand, and especially if you have a baby or a toddler or a child who still is in diapers, obviously I would recommend that you have extra diapers on hand as well. I always think it's great to have wipes on hand for whatever you may need them for. Also, feminine products. If you have any women in your home, you should always have an extra stock of feminine products on hand just in case you need them. I also think it's great to have, in addition to the wipes you use in the bathroom, cleaning wipes as well. So I have these all over the place in the house. These were also very hard to find during the height of the pandemic. So I recommend keeping these on hand. In addition to that, dish soap, just something if you needed to at least clean your hands. These are items that you can use to do that with. I also like to keep backups of shampoo, conditioner, soap, face wash, toothpaste, things like that. So I keep all of those things in our house, in addition to extra toothbrushes and things like that, just in case you need them. You don't want to run out and be stuck mid shampooing and then realize you're out of conditioner. So I like to keep these things on hand. And if you have an Ollie's near you, Ollie's is a great place to go and get name brand items that you probably would typically buy at the grocery store anyways, but they're at a marked down and reduced price. I love going there for anything like this. This is actually where these are from. The next thing you always want to have on hand is medication. So if you're taking any prescription medication, you want to make sure obviously that you have that on hand. I know that you can't stockpile your prescription medication, but you do want to make sure that if you are running low, or that if you don't have any refills left, that you're prepared. So if you do need them on short notice, you can call in and get them. In addition to prescription medicine, it's also good to have non-prescription meds on hand. So ibuprofen, headache relief, Tylenol, things like that. I also like to keep vitamins on hand, and then also stomach ailments. If you have anyone in your home who has stomach issues, you probably want to keep something like that on hand. These are always a good thing to have extras of. I think you can never have too many. Don't stockpile them. Don't go buy up everything off the shelves, but keep them handy in case you need them. Next thing you always want to have on hand is a fully stocked first aid kit. So I actually think my mom put this kit together for me, I think when I got my first apartment, and I've had it ever since. Obviously I've replenished it since then, but here is where we keep Band-Aids of any size. We have liquid bandages, we have butterfly closures, we keep tape and gauze in here, a little set of scissors, and some ointment just for infections or anything like that. And I also do have a thermometer in there as well. And then in addition to that, it's also good to have some hydrogen peroxide on hand just in case there is an injury that you need to take care of. So one thing I didn't mention when I was talking about candles was lighters, which obviously if you're going to need a candle, you want something to light it with. Having a lighter or matches on hand is also a really smart idea. So we keep these all over the house. Obviously not, if you have small children, maybe that's not the best idea, but my children know not to play with fire. So we keep some of these upstairs and we keep some downstairs just in case, if it's the middle of the night and the power goes out and you need a candle to walk downstairs, you're prepared. We also have candles upstairs as well. So this is always a good thing to keep on hand. Another thing to have on hand, which some people may not always think about, is a can opener. So I know I have gone camping on more than one occasion and have forgotten a can opener. So I think it's always good to have an extra one of these laying around just in case you need it. And if you don't have a can opener, I suggest having one of these tools. This is a Leatherman. This functions as so many tools. So this is my husband's, and he takes this wherever he goes. So he has this for jobs whenever he needs them. This does so many different functions. It also does have a can opener on it, but if you didn't have one of these, it would be good to have a can opener. So this takes the place of so many different tools. It's pliers, it's a can opener, it's scissors, it's a saw, it's a screwdriver, it's so many different things. So if you don't have a Leatherman or some sort of multi-tool, I suggest getting one of these. These are great to have around. In addition to that, I'm also going to suggest having knives in your home in case of emergency. If you need to cut something, if you need to protect yourself, heaven forbid. Knives are a good thing to have on hand. So my son actually likes to collect knives. So this is one of his knives. This is actually from the USMC. So he has one of these on hand, and it also has a paracord attached to it, which is also a great item to have. My husband has a large collection of knives as well. We also have a machete in case we should need it. So I suggest keeping things like this on hand just in case you need them. This next item is probably one of my favorites here. So this is a walkie-talkie that my neighbor actually bought for us to have. So she has one and we have one as well. And when she brought it over, I felt like a kid again, because I know growing up I had walkie-talkies with my neighbors. But this is a great thing to have on hand in case of an emergency. And say you don't have a charge on your phone and you need to contact somebody, this is a great thing to have on hand. You can tap into several different channels on here. So if you needed to, I'm assuming that even if your neighbor didn't have theirs available, that you would be able to get in touch with somebody, and it makes you feel like a kid again. So this is fun to have on hand regardless of an emergency. One of the last things I want to talk about today is gasoline. I think it's always a great idea to have gasoline on hand. We have gas on hand all the time for the power tools that my husband uses and for the lawnmower. I will say though, I do not suggest storing this in your house. This is only in here for the purposes of this video, and as soon as I am done, I will be taking this back outside. Do not store gasoline inside the house, please. So like I said before, this is not a total complete list of absolutely every single thing you could use for survival. These are just basics that I feel everybody should have on hand to be prepared in case of an emergency. Another thing I didn't mention, and also I'm definitely not going to bring inside, is the propane tank that we have hooked to our grill outside. That would be another thing that you would want to have on hand. And it's also great if you can have an extra tank on hand just in case. I can't tell you how many times I have run out of gas in the middle of cooking dinner and have had to switch out tanks. So those are also good. If you can have 2 of them on hand, obviously store them safely outdoors. This is just a list of bare minimum essentials that I think is smart for everybody to have on hand. Emergency or no emergency, even if just the power goes out or there's a huge snowstorm and you can't get to the grocery store right away, it's great to have extras of these items on hand at all times for you and your family to use. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. If you found any value in it, please be sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Another thing that we keep, oh crap, I turned the light on. I'm just gonna unplug it. Okay. I'm such a dork. We have several of these in our house, and we have them all over our house. So we have them some up. I can think of several. So really the list could be quite possibly endless of things that you could have on hand. Like I said, this is just a list of bare minimum